Welcome back, everybody, to Real Talk Realty Podcast, where we put the real in real estate. You are with your host, JD.
And Gabby.
And Louis Namick.
And, of course, for our month-end wrap-up, we have no other than himself, Rob Krop himself.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Myth and the legend.
Myth and the legend. So today we're going to be talking about all kinds of stuff. We're going to be talking about rates, timing, the market, mistakes that sellers are making, seasonal prep, potential for refinancing, and some other hyper-locally focused Frederick data that we want to go over with you guys. But let's start with the big national headline this month, the Fed rate cut on September 17th. So, Rob, what exactly changed, and what does it mean for buyers and sellers here locally?
Great question. So this is what we expected to happen. We expected that the Feds to come out and make a rate cut. We were figuring that it was going to be somewhere between a quarter point or a half point. Ended up just being the quarter point, which is what most people had expected was going to happen. And so what they've done is they've lowered that federal rate to that 0.25%. Reasons being that they did do is because it's slowing job growth, unemployment is starting to tick up, and they didn't drop it to the 50 because of inflation still above that 2% target rate that they were at. However, they did hint that there are 2 additional cuts coming later in the year. So there's another Fed meeting at the end of October and then at the beginning of December. So lots more to keep in mind and look forward to. Right now, FHA and VA are still in the mid-5s. And then conventional this morning, I talked to one of our...
Wait, mid-5s?
Yeah.
For FHA?
FHA, VA, government-backed, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Mid-5s.
Okay.
And then on conventional, I talked to one of our lenders this morning around that 6.25, 6.375. So still pretty good ranges. Not exactly where we wanted it to hit, but the Fed dropping the rate doesn't necessarily mean that the mortgage rates are hit the same way. I think a really good example of that is when the price of oil goes down, you don't necessarily see that hit the gas pumps immediately. You know, there's a lot of factors that go into why that would come down. So it could be things like, you know, if depending on the season or a lot of people traveling, you know, they're going to take advantage of that. Also, with that being the demand, then there's also the shipping costs, you know, involved in things. So if the price of gas has been higher or it's unsure how low it's going to go, you know, they have to build in what those costs are going to be. And then they look at the uncertainty of how the pricing is going to be long term. Because similar to oil, with the Fed rates, the rates are short term. So these changes that they make are short term changes usually versus, you know, with a 30-year mortgage is long term. And so they're trying to figure out where things will be in the future. So there's a lot more that's going into why the mortgage rates, hit where they're going to hit. Now, we do expect overall throughout the year that mortgage rates will continue to drop and things are moving in a great place as far as the economy is going, that we will start to get closer to that 6%, probably by the end of the year, heading into next year, maybe being, somewhere in those high 5s. So it's not going to be a fast drop like a lot of people were hoping, but the drops are coming, and I think that that's really encouraging for most people.
So with all that said, what advice do you have for buyers and sellers right now?
Well, so for buyers, I mean, obviously that means that it's more affordable right now because we were in the mid 6s. So there has been a drop, and that is going to change your buying power a bit. So there are available opportunities for you, and they're estimating that as the rates get closer to 6%, there's a more likelihood of another 500,000+ people entering the market, which is about 11% more buyers in the market, which means competition. Mm-hmm. And so with sellers, same thing. Keep that in mind. As these rates come down, there will be more competition. But right now, we're still kind of seeing the same thing, where it's still pricey. And so when it comes to sellers, you still need to price your house right. You need to make it show really well. Can't just slap something on the market and hope for the best.
That's right. Yep.
And then the big thing with I think a huge question that a lot of people are asking is getting into these price drops. A lot of people are waiting on the rates because a lot of agents were telling people, marry the house, date the rate. The rates will come down. I know.
Scared me with that.
That's so cliche now in our market, right?
And we want to be reasonable with clients and make sure that they know kind of what they should be doing. I'd rather give people good advice than I'm not here to try to just blow smoke up your skirt. And,
Get a quick sale.
yeah, I'm not here to get a quick sale. I'd rather give you really good advice, so so that you know that you can come and ask us questions and we can help you make good decisions. That's our whole thing. Is the more we can educate you, the better decisions you can make. The more comfortable you're going to feel about those decisions you make. And so, should you refi this fall? A lot of people are asking. There are a lot of people over the last couple of years that have purchased homes in the high 6s and 7% interest rates. And for a lot of those people, the answer is going to be yes. Now, the rule of thumb has always been around 1% is where you kind of want to be. But there are a bunch of different factors that play into that. Biggest one is going to be the loan amount. So 1% on, $100,000 loan versus a $500,000 loan obviously is going to be very different. On a $500,000 loan, though, maybe 0.5% actually could make sense for, dropping your payment, and it makes sense for you to do so. The other big thing is that because over the last couple of years we've still seen prices increasing, that means that the values have gone up. And if someone had done a down payment less than 20%, they probably have mortgage insurance, PMI. And if they have PMI, they're probably spending a couple $100 a month just on that insurance.
Right.
And so if the values have gone up enough, you may be able to refi and remove that PMI. So in addition to that 0.5% or 1%, you're also dropping off that PMI. That could be an additional couple $100 a month that you're saving. And so refining right now actually might make a lot of sense. But the thing when you are thinking about doing the refinance, it's not just the interest rate. You got to really look at all the numbers, because obviously when you refi, there's going to be closing costs. Oftentimes you can build those closing costs back into the loan, but it's still real money that you're going to have to pay back.
Yep.
And so something that buyers should be thinking about is their break even. So if you're going to save $100 a month and, but it's going to cost you $2,000 to do it, that means it's a 20-month turnaround. And so you want to start thinking about how long is that going to take for the break-even point. And
also determine how long you plan on staying in the property.
Yeah.
And how long you decide to stay on the property.
Didn't you just refinance?
I'm in the middle of one right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so it's worth it.
Yeah.
You're gonna save some.
It's like $1,000 a month.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. $1,000 a month.
Oh, my
I mean,
gosh.
there's proof in the pudding right there.
Right.
So we're hearing all kinds of people. I don't know about you guys, but my clients are asking me, should I wait till the spring to sell my house, or can I sell in the fall? What might selling this fall actually work on the seller's advantage?
Well, to me, think about it this way, right? So when you go to sell your home, you want to kind of know what's going on as far as the inventory in your area, right? What is every other seller probably saying about when they want to list their house? They all want to list in the spring, right? When all the other sellers want to list, right?
Correct.
True.
So you want to list your property when everybody else is listing their property, or do you want to list it when there's motivated buyers? Because put it this way, if you're a buyer looking to move in the winter, in my opinion, you're doing so because you really got
you
to.
have to,
You
yeah.
have to.
Yeah.
So you're getting a high quality buyer out in the winter, fall and winter markets because they're moving during the holidays, so they want it. And you're listing at a lower inventory level than you would be in the spring. So
Which may end up getting you a better price.
Yeah.
which theoretically should definitely get you a better price.
As a buyer, you're going to have a little less competition, like you said, because there's probably a lot less people out buying.
Right.
There's a lot less, as we call them in the industry, tire kickers, looking at properties. There's a lot less window shopping when the weather's not pretty. When it's not nice outside, the idea of looking at houses isn't ever.
Also, everybody's spending money on Christmas.
True.
And everybody's spending money on traveling to their families and all that stuff going on in the winter time. So it's like,
Hey, some people love the cold. I'm just saying.
hey, man, good for them, man.
You
It
have
couldn't
the right,
be me.
If you have the right gear.
I'm about to go into hibernation.
Oh my gosh. Here we go. But I don't think people understand the deals that you can get in the winter, because a lot
For
of
sure.
people automatically are like, oh, nobody's buying during this time, but that is an advantage to you, right? I just had one go under a contract. We offered $15K under ask and asked for $11,000 in closing.
And they accepted?
They accepted.
Wow.
So that
Well, you're
was
seeing a lot
like
of those types of
25
deals
grand.
in general right now,
Yeah.
just because of how many properties are out there.
But
And-
that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
some people, going back to rates, some people are waiting for interest rates to drop. But right now it's a perfect time because you can get these deals. When the rates do drop significantly,
You're not
like
gonna
you
get 'em.
said, you're going to have so many more buyers and it's going to be bidding wars again. So,
waiving inspections
Yep.
and waiving appraisals and blah, blah, blah.
yeah.
Offering 15, 20 grand over ask.
Oh, my gosh. And still losing.
It's still losing. All those days are coming back.
Oh, man.
Well, and like good deals on resales, it's also we're still seeing our new home sales are continually advertising more and more programs to still give people even better interest rates. And now that the interest rates have started to drop, they have more ability to offer closing cost assistance, seller subsidies, and interest rate drops.
Right.
I saw one this morning. They were offering a 2-1 buy down, which would be $299 for your first year, $399 your second year, and then it would finalize at a $499.
That is baller.
Good,
That,
yeah.
That's a great
That is
deal.
baller right there.
Yeah, that is-
Dang.
wow.
Wait, who was it?
It was D.R. Horton.
Ah, nice. We like D.R. Horton.
Yeah. So definitely good deals on that. And then going back to your question about selling, because obviously on the buying side, there's less competition and that's helpful. So for a seller, it's like, well, should I even put my house on the market during the
Yeah.
fall if there's not competition?
That's a great question.
Because that means that I'm not in a great place. No, not necessarily. In the DMV, we see people buy all year round. In fact, some of our busiest seasons have been in the October, November, and even December.
Yeah.
I can tell you, most Thanksgivings, I'm showing property in the morning. I'm not cooking, so I'm allowed to do
I
that.
just told Rob this morning at our meeting, I feel like this November is going to be all again like last November.
Yeah.
I had like 8 or 9 deals.
No, you
Boom,
crushed
boom,
the end of
boom,
the year
boom.
last year.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I
hope so.
I think it will
too.
continue that way as rates are starting to come down. Again, they didn't crush it. They're not below 6 necessarily. Now you can by some points, but the interest rates are getting better, and that is increasing, I think, a lot of buyer interest in the market. And so there are benefits for you as a seller coming out, and you will sell your home. There are people that are buying, and those buyers are serious because they're not doing it just for fun. If someone comes out to see your house, back in the summer, maybe 1 out of 6 of those people probably weren't super serious. They're just curious or interested.
Yeah.
In the winter, that rarely happens.
Right.
Usually the people that are calling us are way more incented. And then another thing, I've always found that during the fall and as we get into the holidays, advertising your property, the way you stage your home, maybe having some of that seasonal curb appeal, looks really nice. Like, as I love the fall with the falling leaves, you get all those additional colors, maybe you have some of the, the fall decorations out.
Some pumpkins on the front porch.
Pumpkins on the front porch. It can really jazz up the photos and really get people's attention. And, and even having a Christmas tree, like it allows people to kind of start seeing themselves and their family enjoying these moments. Because again, the house is where they're going to live, and they're going to have they're going to celebrate all these holidays, and it's another way to visually see themselves in the home.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so I think that there's definitely benefit to that. And so if you're thinking, I need to sell, the fall's a great time. The winter's a great time. I mean, homes sell all year round.
And we really don't have bad winters here
No.
No,
in our area. So
knock on wood.
But also, like Rob said, just this area being so resilient and such a great, in my opinion, one of the best real estate markets in the entire country. I mean, there's just so much going on at all times that it's not really, I've never really, since I've been in the business, there's never been a time where I'm like, oh man, it's just dead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
And I know there's other places in the country where that's not the case, but here so much, I've never really seen it.
or there's a place in Florida where everybody and their mother is a real estate agent.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, no, if you're thinking about, if you need to sell your house and you've been thinking about it, I wouldn't necessarily say that you have to hold out until the spring unless you want to. But if you need to sell now, it's still a great time. At the end of the day, regardless of the market, you still need to price your house correctly. You still need to stage it well. It needs to show well. Money still is expensive, and buyers, they want to move into the home without having to do a bunch of repairs. The more repairs, the more things that need done, the less money you're going to get on it.
It's not even that they don't want to do the repairs. It's like a lot of the times they just don't have the money.
Yeah.
They're spending so much money.
Absolutely. And the mortgage isn't going to be cheap, so.
Right. That's what you got to tell the sellers too. It's just like, imagine, a lot of the times when I'm talking to sellers about, buyers looking at their property and they say that they may want this kind of really, really high amount or whatever, that if they're not being realistic, it's like, well, think about what that payment, like what's your payment now? And then they'll tell me their payment. And then I could tell you what a payment would be like with these new interest rates or whatever. And then it like gives them a little bit of perspective, like, wow, somebody would actually be paying that per monthly for my house. And it's like, now you understand where the shoe is on the other foot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Good point.
I had that the other day where my buyer is purchasing a home and the seller wanted to do a rent back, and it was a little eye-opening for them what the daily rate was going to be.
That's exactly when that's popped up. It just did that same thing with one of my clients 2 months ago. I told him what the daily rent back was going to be. He's like, whoa, what the heck? And I'm like, dude, well, this is their mortgage payment. Right. And he's like, oh, my gosh.
That's those people sitting on 2.3% or whatever the heck.
And then and honestly, it was good for him because then he started getting a little bit nicer, a little bit more generous. He's like, dang, I can't believe they're doing that. I'm like, yep.
Oh, my gosh.
It's definitely good to understand both sides of what's happening in the market. Yeah, because then again, the more information you have, the better decisions you can make.
Right.
Yeah. So talking about sellers, what are some of the mistakes that you're seeing current sellers that they're making?
Overprice.
That's the biggest one. I think all of us are seeing the
overprice.
The overpricing is just it's just insane that people are thinking that they can ask for so much money and that it's gonna sell.
Let's reel it in. Let's get in reality.
It's not only that they're overpricing their houses. Some people just don't want to do the work to get their house ready.
I put a lot of that responsibility, though, on agents, too.
Yeah. There's some agents out there.
I think there's a lot of agents right now.
Will not give their clients advice.
Well, they're buying listings.
True.
I'm just going to say it like it is. I think that's what's going on out there. I think a lot of people are saying, yeah, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, your house, yeah, we can try to get this. But then you're seeing these price cuts all over the place. Right. All over the place. And it's not because the house just became worth less. It's because it was never worth that amount in the first place.
Yes. Well, I have a great example of that. I just got a listing. I won out of 3 agents. And the reason I got the listing is because I was sincere and honest with them and told them and advised them what they needed to do to get their house ready.
Yep.
The other agent just walked in and talked numbers.
Yep.
Didn't look at their house. Didn't compliment them on their house.
Come on, man.
Didn't give them any advice whatsoever.
Get it together, whoever you are out there.
Yeah. So it pays. It pays to get your house ready.
Yeah.
Well, it's better to be honest and let people know, like, what are we – obviously, we're seeing what buyers are seeing and what they're wanting because we're working with them right now. So we know, like, hey, I've taken a buyer through and in a house similar condition as yours, this is what they're telling me.
Yeah.
Like, that's a good thing to ask your realtor. Like, what are they seeing on the buyer side? Like, and having your home prep for that. Like,
I mean, you don't want to twist your ankle and go to the doctor and he's like, yeah, man, put a Band-Aid on it. It's like, that's just terrible advice. Come on. Be honest with me, Doc. What's wrong with it? What's wrong with it?
It's definitely a good point. And there's nothing you can do for the best rate ROI on doing the work, fixing up your house. You're going to make more money having it in better condition than almost anything else that you would do. I mean, for a couple $1,000s for painting, that could save you thousands of dollars on a bad offer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's worth doing the upfront work. So if your agent's giving you advice, here's some things to do. I always like to tell people, here's your A tier stuff, your B tier, and your C tier. Let's hit the A and the B's at least. And if we have the bandwidth and the money, let's also hit
and the time.
Let's hit the C's. But it's really important that you stage your house well, that you prep it well, because it will sell faster, and faster means more money. Mm-hmm. The faster it sells, the more likely people are going to give you what you're asking, if not more.
And if you're out there and you're wondering what you can do to prep your home and get ready for the market, we do have Rob Krop Team seller manuals that will get you everything you need to do cheap and inexpensive and effective ways to get the most out of your house. So if you need that, we got e-versions. We can send them over to you.
And they're free. We don't have to pay for them.
Free.
Yeah, and we also have the contractors and the people who do all that work on a list.
We have done the legwork to figure out who sucks and who's good. And so we're not going to send you anybody that's bad. We got a list of all proven and they've shown us time and time again that they know what they're doing at a good price. So please lean on us for that. Don't just go on to Google and find somebody.
And, if you know you're going to be selling your house soon or even in the near future, have us come out early. We'll do a one-on-one. We'll go through the house. We'll give you some advice. We'll tell you what are those A, B, and C tier, things to do so that you can be ready when you're ready to sell.
Yep.
That way you're not rushing. One last thing I wanted to mention on the fall real quick is as you're getting ready for fall, there's some things, there are things that you could be doing in that prep, also seasonally. JD and I were talking about this the other day, especially with listings. Like if you have pools and things, I know we're in September, but the weather's been so warm. You might, if you still have your pool open, if you're thinking about selling, this would be a great time to get some outdoor photos in the meantime.
Yes.
Because it looks way better than if you have a pool cover.
Yeah.
That's good advice.
Yeah, or a pool cover, all your trees are dead. It's gray, the clouds are gray, there's no sun. You don't want to have pictures like that? Good luck. No, get the pictures now if possible. Now, if you have to do it in the winter, we can make them look good. We have other ways to make them look good.
Oh, gosh.
We'll always do our best to show the best photos of the house.
Yeah.
We're not here to show photos that don't help you sell. But if you know you're going to sell, I think there are some things that are worth doing. Like JD was saying, when the flowers are blooming, when the trees still have leaves on them, or maybe the leaves are changing colors, great time to get those pictures.
Then there's AI.
And then another big thing is like for planting grass and painting. Those are two things that people forget about. Is during the fall is actually the best time to be planting grass seeds. So if you have dead spots
Or a tree.
or trees.
plant.
And if you're thinking about listing in the spring, do that now.
Absolutely.
Even if you're waiting to list in the spring, get the grass seed down.
Now's the time. Yep.
This is the best time. And the biggest thing that I come across often is exterior paint that needs touched up. If the degrees are less than 40 degrees over a 24-hour period, it won't cure. So like this is now the best time to hit those paint spots. So if you're thinking about doing it, there are little things you can be doing right now that you just can't do when it's cold out.
It's true.
So
Okay, so let's bring this home and talk about Frederick specifically because our numbers are shifting faster than the region. What are we seeing here locally compared to the rest of the Mid-Atlantic?
Well, inventory's up.
That's good.
inventory is way up. So
23% exactly here in Frederick.
Sheesh.
Yep.
yeah. And,
Actually, no, you're wrong. Inventory in the region.
Oh, crap.
up
You're right.
23%. But here it's up to 50%.
Wow.
Twice
Yep.
as fast.
50%.
That's crazy.
Wow.
yeah. Yeah. And with sales in the region are down about 3% year over year, we're seeing about 15% down. Additionally, we're seeing a lot of contract fall through or price drops. Biggest price right now, we're seeing about 10% of the properties we're seeing have price drops. Now, compared to last year, it was a little bit higher on price drops, but I think a lot of those price drops really are price corrections in that sellers were overpricing and they're now coming back to reality.
Right.
And the market has spoken.
Yeah, so I would imagine that's a direct correlation between the 15% sales being down because so many people overpricing their homes. They're just taking longer. I feel like if they were all priced correctly, then probably wouldn't be near 15%.
Right.
Well, and median days to contract are in the 30s.
Yep.
So days to contract are sitting much longer. I did a pre-appraisal for a listing that I have coming up, and I was talking to Six and Associates, one of the top appraising groups around the area. A lot of people around here know them, and that's what they're seeing consistently is that 30-day mark as well. And so it's good to have the right expectations jumping on the market, that things aren't flying off. Now, a lot of the reason that there's 30-day listings is, again, people are overpricing it.
Now, let me ask you this, Rob. This is kind of off the cuff, but so back when the market was a little different, three or so years ago, I knew I was making price cuts 7 days, 10 days after listing. What's kind of your rule of thumb, or do you have a rule of thumb or a strategy when it comes to talking about price drops? Obviously, for the most part, our team does a fantastic job of not even having to get price cuts. But in the times that you do, what tells you that you need to and when?
Yeah. So my rule of thumb has been if you have 10 showings or 10 days on the market, no offers, no contracts, you're probably priced wrong.
Right.
Once you're on the market, there's really no guessing. The market is telling you exactly what's happening. There are buyers out buying. We can see that clearly. And so if your home isn't going under contract, if you're not getting showings, there's a reason. And that number one reason that people aren't looking at your house is because of the price. Because at the end of the day, you could have train tracks in the backyard and high tension wires in the front. For the right price, someone will buy that house.
Right. Exactly.
It's true.
It's not what sellers want to hear, but at the end of the day, that's just the truth.
Well, that still makes sense. That number makes sense from you because I remember at the height of the market, I was saying basically if you had 4 buyers come in, 4 to 5 was about the number. So now that we're in a little bit higher inventory market and properties are sitting a little bit longer, 10 bodies through the door, 10 buyers through the door, no offers. I mean, that's 10 people that said no.
That's price.
Yeah.
So that's price. So
Because obviously there was enough interest when they came, for them to schedule the appointment, but they walked in and said, this isn't it.
And even if people say, no, well, it could be condition. No, condition is price. If you price, if the property is in poor condition and it's priced right, it'll still sell, just like Rob said.
Right. And we know statistically that the average listing, the majority of activity happens in those 2 weeks. And so that really kind of lines up with that, that 10-day rule kind of that I'm seeing.
All right, so we got like 2 minutes left. What are our key takeaways?
For sellers, the competition is real. You just can't toss a home on the market and expect multiple offers that first weekend. If you price your house right, you could. And we definitely are still seeing multiple offers happening. For buyers, you have some of the best selection that you've had in years. There's more choices. There's a lot less rush. We just said there's 50% more listings. So there's a lot more choices. Interest rates are coming down. If you're waiting for less competition, this is the window.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Well, awesome. Well, we really greatly appreciate you guys joining us back this week. We're going to be back again next week. But yes, if you have any questions, you're thinking about selling, you're thinking about buying, get with us sooner rather than later. Even if your timeline is a little further out, it's never too soon to get as much information as possible so you can make a good decision for your family. But thank you so much, Rob, for joining us again today. We love our month-end wrap-ups with you. We always learn a little something, and I hope as you do too as viewers. I know we look forward to sharing it with you.
All right, have a good day. Bye, guys.
Peace.
Peace.